huge fight. I'm delighted to welcome the IBF welterweight champion of the world, Natasha Jonas, and her opponent, Mikaela Mayer, to the studio ahead of their huge world title bout. That's on January the 20th. Firstly, hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to both of you. You've both been in the studio before and had a chat. Let's start with you in no particular order. I show no favouritism. How are you? Are you good? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having us.
How is the training going at the moment? And what's it like with the fight with Christmas right in the middle of it? Is that difficult?
It's a little bit different. Obviously, here it's cold, so there's lots of different diseases floating around, especially with my little girl in her school. And pulling sparring partners in over Christmas is always hard because they finish for the year and they'll start next year. So that can add a different dynamic. But I'm early into camp and yeah, it's been. I don't want to say enjoyable because they're always hard and tough, but you feel better when you come out the sessions.
And Mikaela, good to see you as well.
Thank you.
So you're over here now. Are you staying here? Are you flying back for Christmas then coming over?
No, I've literally been here for 2 days and I fly back tomorrow morning.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you're just coming over for press and talking about the fight and so on?
Yep, just coming out trying to sell this fight.
Okay. What's it like for the both of you, but because I'm talking to you, I'll ask you the question first. Doing the promotion so close together, you're sat in the studio, people on YouTube can see you're sat right next to each other. Is that a problem or not? Is that something that's quite common?
Maybe with past opponents. I've definitely had opponents where we probably shouldn't be sitting this close to each other, but I don't think that's the type of rivalry you have here because me and Natasha really wanted to make this fight happen. We're both on board with it from the jump. And so we just want to challenge ourselves against the best. And right now, I'm moving up to 147. That's her division. She's the champ there. And I feel like I'm the best and she feels like she's the best. And so we want to go in there and test ourselves and put on a good show for the fans. This is the type of fight the fans want to see.
Tasha, I want to ask you, how's it feel? You're headlining in your hometown in Liverpool for the first time. Excited about that, and that must mean obviously an awful lot to you.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester's been good to me. I've won, I think, 3 world titles there. But there's just no place like home. And to have that, the crowd behind you, my family and friends all being there and everything, it makes it special. And it's another thing to tick off the list before you eventually do hang up the gloves.
Home advantage is absolutely massive in any sport. We've got the football behind us, but boxing as well. Is that a big disadvantage to you, do you think, Mikaela, or not?
I don't think disadvantage is a hard word. I think that this is boxing and you always have to be skeptical of letting the fight go into the judge's hands, and it is going to be in her hometown and there's going to be lots of fans there screaming her name, and it's no secret that judges are only human and they can be easily persuaded in situations like that. So I know that going in, and it just makes me more focused on winning decisively.
We had Tom Aspinall in the studio earlier on. I don't know if you heard it. We were talking about UFC, of course, and then at the end of our chat, we were talking about boxing and the state of men's boxing at the moment. And with UFC, it's the very best of the best that fight each other all the time. And of course, I'm sure you're aware of it, in the men's heavyweight division, you're not always getting the best fights. In the women's boxing, I feel as though you're getting much more difficult fights to predict the winner, and you're getting the cream of the crop always fighting each other. Do you feel, I'll come back to you, do you feel as though maybe you're flying the flag for top quality boxing week in, week out, when perhaps you don't have that at the moment in the men's division?
I think we always knew as athletes how good women's boxing was. We just needed the world to see it, and we're very fortunate that a lot of the females are like in and around the same weight. So a lot of the top females, if you look at the top 10 pound for pound list, there's a lot that are practically in the same weight division or 1 or 2 weight divisions, and it's easier for females like myself, like Mikaela, to move up and down in weight.
So Mikaela, I mean, Natasha just said it there. For you, is it easy then, even though you're stepping up in weight into Natasha's weight category, did you find it easy in terms of going up in weight?
I think I've been due to go up for a while, but I was a champ at 130, and I was, trying to hold that down, and I had a goal of going undisputed, and I always knew I would move up. I probably should have done it a little bit sooner, but it is what it is. I had a great run at 130, and this past year I've been taking that time to slowly move up. My last 2 fights, one was at 35, the next one was at 142, and then the opportunity came to fight Tasha, and I said, my body's filling out faster than I expected it to anyway, so I feel better than I ever have, and training camp is fun again. I feel great.
So I've always wondered that, you said training camp's fun, and obviously what do you do then in terms of moving up in the weight? Like, what are you doing? Like, obviously you're not
Well, the main thing, obviously, before to make 130, I was fighting on a calorie deficit that would start 10 weeks out.
Wow.
And so it wasn't the fight that was hard. By the time the fight came, that was easy. My body's adjusted to the weight. I just had already cut a ton of muscle throughout camp and, maybe didn't reap all the benefits of my hard work, but the weight was done. Now, and so camp was really hard. That made camp really hard, going in and training, 10, 12 rounds, running, lifting, all these things 2-3 times a day, eating not enough calories. I was just exhausted. I didn't realize that. I thought I was just a fighter fighting hard, doing what fighters are supposed to do. But now feeling this way and feeling fueled throughout camp, it just makes it so much more fun. I can think clearer, and I'm just enjoying it a lot more.
We've spoken to you before, Mikaela. You've been in our studio before. You fought over in England, of course. We know how big women's boxing is in England. A lot of that, of course, is down to Katie Taylor. She's just been astronomical. She's top billing now over here as well. What's it like back home? Do you have to come over to England for the big fights at the moment?
I think that I've been coming out here for the past year, and it's paying off, because now you see all my big future fights. A lot of them are against girls from this side of the pond. Like, that's where a lot of my future big fights are. So it kind of makes sense to start building my profile out here, building my fan base. And I enjoy it. And this is where women's boxing is thriving. I'm not going to lie. America's pretty big. It's a little bit more competition there. And right now, this is where the opportunity is for me. So the businesswoman in me says, let's just go where there's the opportunity and where there's a platform.
Tasha, I want to ask you, I think in your press conference today, you said about no to 12 rounds in this fight. Why was that?
I didn't say no at all. The question was about 3-minute rounds.
Okay.
Which was something that was never discussed, or I just, got my contract, it said what it said, and, that's what it was. But then Mikaela obviously made the suggestion about a 3-minute round, which is, something that I'm open to have talks with him for.
When you're sparring, is it 2 or 3 minute rounds you're sparring to?
I always spar 3-minute rounds. I'm not even allowed to spar 2-minute rounds. Coach Al won't let me. He said, no, you're going to spar 3-minute rounds. So I'm accustomed to that pace.
Is that what you'd prefer, 3-minute rounds over 2-minute rounds?
Yeah, I do, because then you build your IQ that way when you can slow things down, think, feel out your opponent, start setting them up. It's strategy, and there's little time for strategy when you're doing a 10 2-minute round fight.
And what about you, Natasha?
I do think that a 3-minute round would suit me better, my style better. But yeah, obviously I do understand what Ben's saying about, the thing that makes women's boxing exciting is the speed and the veracity of it. It has to be quick. You have to do them. It's impossible to do a 2-minute round as a 3-minute. Yeah. So it does slow things down and then goes into what Mikaela's
listen,
saying.
Thank you so much for coming in. Are you going to be sending each other a Christmas card list over the holidays? Or
probably not. Probably won't go that far.
I do notice that you've not looked at each other in the tie. Is it quite difficult for you? So I do detect a bit of tension in here.
No. I'm just focusing on you guys, talking to you guys. I already talked to Natasha all day.
I know it's very difficult when you're sat opposite me to take
your eyes off me. She didn't understand the word I was saying, by the way. She just listened.
Yeah.
Listen,
it is hard.
It's going to be a fantastic fight. They're all fantastic fights. So you're doing wonders for not just women's boxing, but boxing as well. So we admire you for that. Have a great Christmas if you can enjoy it. Will you be having roast potatoes? Are you allowed to eat over the...
I definitely won't be having Mikaela's roast. But I'll be having something.
Neither will I, thank God. No, I'm probably just gonna be skipping Christmas.
Oh my goodness!
I don't care. This fight is more important to me. I'm zoned in. I'm focused on this, and I can celebrate after.